Another video on tipping. Yes, I recently saw a video on the news called Tipflation. How so many workers out there are asking for a tip. People who never ask for a tip normally are now asking for tips. They just swing around the register pad and it says, "Would you like to tip?" And people feel pressured about tipping because there's people in line. The register person is right there in front of you, probably judging you. And you just don't feel good hitting the no tip button. And how much should you tip for which type of professions? So I want to go through some professions here about who deserves a tip and how much should you tip them. So the first one, your server, your bartender. My personal opinion. Start off 20% tip by default. Here are the reasons why a server and bartender deserves a 20% tip at the start. Their job is of course difficult, but they're providing you with a lot of attention. They're always checking up on you. They're always refilling your drinks. They're always giving you new silverware, new plates, asking you how you are, all of this. Now, it's up to the server bartender where they could lose their tips if they're just not doing a good job, not checking up on you. But they could also increase their tips if they're just going above and beyond service. If they're just blow you away, excellent service, they just make you feel like royalty. And I have a list here of other jobs. So let's do barista, or it's really a cashier. I mean, the person who's taking your order is just a cashier, and then someone else is making the coffee most of the time. But I digress. The barista, cashier, and the people who just flip the pad around. How much I tip them? Most of the time, 0%. Judge me all you want. What did they do that was above and beyond? This is a job. They take your payment and say, "Here's your number. Your order will come out when we call you out." Is there any above and beyond service? Are they going to throw away my cup when I'm done with it? Are they going to refill it? I'm just grabbing it and leaving. There's just no reason for me to tip them. I mean, what above and beyond service does it warrant for me to give them a tip? Most time, 0%. I have tipped them just out of guilt. But I'm becoming more and more firm that, you know what, 0%. I've had your job before. No one's tipped me. And I don't see the reason you should get tipped for the most part. Driver. So like your Uber driver, taxi, Lyft driver, right? They're just doing their job. It's just to pick you up, take you to point A to point B, right? And that is their job. Is there any above and beyond service that warrants a tip? There are actually. I will start off with minimum 10%. That's a good minimum. I've had Uber drivers that had water bottles available for me, gum available for me, mint available for me. That was awesome, and that warranted more tips. If I did not initiate the conversation, the driver understood that I just want to be by myself and quiet, I'd probably go 15%, maybe a little bit more, depending how long the drive is. If I ask a question and they were delighted to answer my question, told me more about this town that I'm not familiar with, where to go, good restaurants, whatnot, give me all this great information, I'll bump it up to 15 and 20%, no problem. No problem. Delivery. So let's talk about food delivery. Let's say the pizza guy, right? You order your pizza from Domino's, Pizza, whatever. You already charged a delivery fee. Then you're also expected to tip the driver, right? What above and beyond service did he do? All he did was he brought the pizza over to you. I understand that you should be charged extra to have someone bring your pizza, but on top of that, you're supposed to tip them. Is there anything they did that was above and beyond? Now, I specifically did delivery because why isn't it food that we tip? But we don't tip our Amazon drivers. We don't tip the mailman or mailwoman. We don't tip any other delivery drivers. So delivery, for the most part, just because I have to, I do 5%, unless they did something that was above and beyond. But for the most part, I don't have food delivered to me. I just don't agree with the delivery fee, and then I have to tip. It's just lazy. I'm just going to go get my food and bring it back. And then another side note on food delivery, DoorDash put out an article that you should tip your driver well if you want your food in advance, which is basically bribery. It's not a tip. Like, if you want your own food to come in at a decent time, up their tip. It's like, what the heck is that about? It's not a tip. At that point, you're bribing these guys to give you priority. Oh, here's a good one. A game dealer, like at a casino, right? Like if you play blackjack and they're just helping you out. You have to understand, game dealers want you to win, because if they help you win, they can anticipate a tip. So game dealers, honestly, it's hard to put a percentage, because like if they help me win, I always give them a little bit. I'm like, thanks for helping me win. Because a lot of times they give you tips like, hey man, you should hit on this because you have a greater chance of winning versus not hitting. And other games, right? So game dealers, it's hard to put a percentage on, but I mean, this is an area that I'd say 10% plus, depending on how big of a prize and how long they've been helping you like win games or whatnot, because they want you to win so they can make those tips. Valet parking attendant. All right, there we go. Valet parking attendant. So you're already paying for valet for the most part, right? Who knows if any of that money goes to the actual valet parking attendant. Their job is already to take your car, park it. A lot of times I see it, they just take your car and park it like 20 feet away. Not even in the parking lot. I believe, you could be too lazy to park your car in the parking lot. I get that. So there should be a little treatment, but you are paying that for the valet service. You're paying extra versus parking it in general parking. I say for the tenant, 5%. Here's a good one. A tour guide. I actually have met plenty of great tour guides who are just so knowledgeable. They tell you all great information. They make your experience awesome and fun, memorable. They take your pictures for you on your cell phone. This is a job that I believe that, although they're doing the job that's required, but there is plenty of opportunity for them to go above and beyond. And I say at start, by default, I would say 15%, but I know I've absolutely given some up to 30+%. There's been some tour guides I've met out there who were just phenomenal at their job. They loved it. They talked great about everything, great recommendations nearby, like great tour guides. So I'd say minimum 15%. Here's a good one. Your massage therapist. Your massage therapist is already getting paid to do this. So what above and beyond efforts have they done to massage you? There is opportunity, right? They ask you ahead of time. Is there something bothering you? Is there areas you don't want me to touch you? How much pressure do you want? They're asking you in the middle of the massage, is this good enough pressure? Do you need it more firm? How would you like it? Do you need me to put more time on here? There's been therapists who've done that. Is it really a tip type of job? I'd say so. I've had some bad massage therapists and I've had some excellent ones. So I would say them at minimum. I'll give them 15% at minimum. I definitely paid 20% for the most part, but 15, I'd say 15 is fair. Tattoo artist. Here's another area that has opportunity for bigger tips, right? If tattoo artists are subject matter experts in art. So a lot of people come in to get a tattoo. Most of them are just not artistic. I'm not one of them either. So if I go in asking a tattoo artist of what I'm looking for, typically I have a hard time describing it. Like, I kind of want like a tree and it looks cool. And I saw this gave me an idea on the internet. And, just depending on how they answer back, whether they cannot do that. They have different suggestions if they're trying to cut corners of how they plan to do it, or they could just wow you with the mock-up that they have. Like, this is what I have in mind. These are the details. These are the other cool stuff. And here are some other options in case you don't like this one. We could do this as well. There's plenty of opportunity for tattoo artists to really up their tips. So this is another area that I'd say, just to be fair, I'd say it's another fair 15%, right? So hair stylist. What happened to my caps? Whatever. There's opportunity to increase your tips here about attention to detail here, asking you questions, how you'd like your hair. They give you the mirror, check on it. Is there anything else? There is opportunity here, just depending on what they're asking questions out here. And sometimes these are other people who have good conversation too. I know a lot of them don't like to talk to men because men like their silence. Unless the guy initiates the conversation, they go on with a great conversation. But I'd say this is another one that just warrants a 15%, right? Ooh, a personal trainer at the gym, right? Fascinating, because personal trainers are not cheap for the most part. They're kind of expensive. And most of their job, I mean, it is to motivate you and get you a good workout at the end of the day. I'm trying to figure out where there can be more opportunities that warrant a tip for a personal trainer. And I have a difficult time with this one. I really don't know. I need help with the internet on this one in comments, especially personal trainers, of like what warrants a tip, but like what above and beyond measure do you do that other trainers don't that warrants a tip. So I'm gonna get roasted for this, but you know, they already charge a lot, and a lot of them are independent. They charge their own prices, so I have to say 0%. I'm sorry. I could be totally wrong in this. Please correct me if you feel the need. So a car wash attendant. Their job is to wash a car, dry it off. I've done something similar, especially for fundraising. I never expected a tip. Doesn't make sense to make a tip. Is there opportunity that could warrant a tip, like above and beyond? I don't know. Because typically you should be washing the car and provide maybe an air freshening. I don't know. I really don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say 0%. A street performer. These are people you just see on the street. Most of them I typically walk by. It's been a while since I found someone that has like wowed me, right? If they grasp your attention and you've been watching them perform for a good while, I say they deserve a tip. I had someone on Cinco de Mayo. I was having tacos out on the street, and someone with a guitar came up and was like, "Hey, would you like me to perform for you? If you like my service, give me a tip. If you don't like it, no problem." I was like, "Okay, play what you got." Played 3 songs, great voice, really appreciate it. It brought a better impact to my taco eating experience. And I gave him a few bucks, I think, out of my meal. If I were to do that higher math, I mean, it was probably around in the, if I really think about it, I think it was like 10%. Probably should have tipped more, but it was just at the moment. But there's some that just like have wowed me. So I'd say minimum 10%, maybe a little bit more. It's just depending on how you feel, and they really improved your experience. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to leave it up for the internet to put down what they believe. Let me know if you agree with what I put down or if you disagree. And let me know if there's other professions I did not mention that warrants a tip and how much they deserve. So I look forward to reading the comments. So you guys have a good one. Okay, bye.